All right, today we are at Calvary Cemetery here in Rutland. We have a guest with us here on camera for PEG TV, and his name is Tom Giffen. And Tom, welcome to our camera. And I know
I'm president of the Vermont Old Cemetery Association, and we have a lot of our volunteers here from VOCA. I'm also the cemetery commissioner for the city of Rutland. And today what we're doing at Calvary is our fourth year in a row where the volunteers have come to Calvary to work in here to help maintain this very historic Catholic cemetery. And we have Angelo Tedesco and his crew from Tedesco Masonry. We have the VOCA volunteers, some from Essex. We have the Clarendon Cemetery Commissioner. We have people that have driven all the way down from Essex to be here to work in the cemetery. It's a nice community effort, and it's again our fourth year of doing it. We made a big impression in Calvary, and they've already done an awful lot of work, and it looks good and it looks great.
And I notice you have a whole bunch of cars out here, which I would assume are all volunteers. You got a lot of people here helping out today.
They're all volunteers. We're a grassroots society group. We started in 1958. Our goal is to restore neglected and abandoned cemeteries. This is a little different. It's not really a VOCA project. It's more of a community project because this is certainly not an abandoned cemetery and it's certainly not neglected. It just needs a lot of work over the years of. It takes money and time and effort to maintain a cemetery. And this is a very large cemetery. It's a Rutland cemetery, and it's something that the community is always want to make sure it's looking nice, and they do a nice job on it. What we have done is just repair some stones, do a lot of straightening, doing a lot of general maintenance. I mean, Kevin Peck and his group over there just finished a big monument, put it back together. I mean, to have somebody come in and do the work, it's very expensive. Having volunteers coming in it saves a lot of money and makes it look nice, and it's a nice part of community. One thing that's nice about Rutland is when you need people to come to the plate to do things like a cemetery, it's just nice to see the people here.
I know you have a lot of different skill sets here. You mentioned the masonry company, but people that have actually worked in this. But just anybody that has any time to give, you're welcome to.
We can train anybody. We have all kinds of things from cleaning stones, straightening, epoxying them. Whatever is necessary, we can train you. Many of these people that you see around here have been doing this work for me for years, and they do a wonderful job.
Okay, as you mentioned that, maybe you could just explain to us what's going on right behind you. We have a group.
What they did was the stone was broken in two pieces. They put the base, they leveled it off. They had to straighten everything. They had to epoxy it, put the pieces back together, clean it, and it was and then clamp it together, and it was a great job that they did.
Okay, Tom, that's one restoration or repair job going, and then just over to the right, there's a couple of gentlemen over there doing the same thing a little bit further back.
What they did is the stone that had fallen over. What they're doing is they brought it up, putting Surepack down below it, straightening it, and putting it back so it'll be straight like the other stones. As you look around, some stones are straight, some are not, and also what you see here with the cleaning. What they're doing is taking all that lichen and everything out so people can read the stone. We use a product called D2, and it does a nice job. It's used in Arlington National Cemetery, and when it works for the environment, it's environmentally friendly, won't kill the grass. And after it rains a few times, you'll see these stones like where Father's working over there, that dirty stone, it'll turn white.
And that's pretty common in cemeteries. Most cemeteries, older stones get this.
They get acid rain, and other things have done a lot.
All right, so a good deal of this is a cleaning. The actual broken stones, I mean, that can occur from different things, I guess, age, vandalism.
Vandalism, age, lawnmowers hitting them, a variety of things.
And regarding what we're seeing here, I know, as you said, you have a Vermont position with the cemeteries over there.
This is quite volunteer, yes.
Volunteer, but it's quite common what you see in this cemetery throughout cemeteries around the state.
This is a pretty good shape for the work we've done. So we usually go to cemeteries that are in very bad shape, that have been abandoned, that trees have fallen over, the stones are broken. There's like 200 or 300 broken stones, as opposed to here we have a few dozen that we're working on. And then also this section in the back is where the nuns from St. Joseph were buried. And we're cleaning all those so they'll look nice and white when they get the brush cleaned out over there before.
Okay, and this day for most of you began early this morning?
I was here at 7.
Okay, and it's like a half a day, is that right?
We work for people tired out by noontime, and they're having a barbecue for all the volunteers at lunchtime, and it'll be a very nice So it'll be it's always nice, like I said, a nice community effort with St. Peter's Parish and with the volunteers that come from all over the state to work.
Okay, another question. You would do this, I guess, a few times during the year. Do you always
Every
need
weekend,
help?
every weekend.
Oh, wow.
From May till we have last one could be August 5th in Shrewsbury Center Cemetery. We've been from Heinsberg, Bennington, Richmond. We go all over the state.
Okay, and if anybody's interested in helping join your group at some particular
We have a
place?
website. Look up Vermont Old Cemetery Association. We have a Facebook site and a website, and we look forward to people joining us. It's we also give out grants to communities. So anybody who becomes a member of our group, that all the money goes to giving out grants and give back to the community.
Okay. All right. Well, Kevin, thank you for taking a few minutes to speak with us here on PEG TV. And again, this kind of a huge cemetery here. How do you kind of pick out what you want to do on a day like today?
Well, it's already picked out. They usually put some orange, pink ribbons around what they want worked on, and we just start collecting ribbons, going from stone to stone to stone.
As far as the person's placing the ribbons, there'll probably be some priorities, obviously. If a stone's knocked over on the ground, you want to try to do something with that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and in this cemetery, we were in a very historic cemetery, Calvary Cemetery here in Rutland. Many thousands of stones in this, and you've been doing this for how long?
Almost 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Pretty satisfying work?
Oh yeah, but I'm busy my wife and I, she's over there, we're busy almost every Saturday during the season. We also have our own cemeteries. Monday through Friday we're working on clearing the cemeteries, restoring stones, standing them up. I've had work projects. I had GE come in this year, volunteer day in Chippewa Cemetery, spent the day. I had the Mill River High School football team came in one day in July, one evening on the Briggs Kavanaugh Cemetery, which is on Phil Alderman's property, and did some restoration and restoring the stones there. So yeah, it's outside repairing things. It feels good, yeah.
Pretty much a never-ending job, right? Every year you're going to find some new things you got to attend to.
Well, so far we're starting to knock off cemeteries that don't need any more work in Clarendon, and of course I've been all over Williston, Colchester, Shrewsbury, down in Cunningsville, all over the state on Saturdays. Here today. Next 2 weeks from now, we're back in Shrewsbury, up in Shrewsbury Center. So there's always a cemetery somewhere.
Okay, regarding supplies, obviously you need a few things. A lot of these tools that you use, probably people donate, or any kind of like mortar to fix a stone. Where does that stuff come from?
Well, the D2 that I use in the town Clarendon purchase, the D2 I use, I also have my own, because people ask to have a stone sprayed, and we'll spray it. The majority of the tools are my own, and they're purchased because of the work I do and experience what I need. I have battery operated sawzall, grinder for cutting metal, such and such, stuff like that. I got brushes, I have pins, all that stuff's been probably all pocket, my own pocket.
All right, well, I want to thank you very much for explaining this to
Okay.
us on the Vermont Old Cemetery Association. Kevin Peck,
Kevin Peck.
thank you very much. Once again, we are at Calvary Cemetery here in Rutland. A beautiful day. It's a Saturday morning. Weather is very nice, and we have with us the parish priest here at St. Peter's Church, Father Richard. And Father, a lot of activity going on here today. And first, I want to thank you very much for taking a few minutes to speak with us and just your thoughts on what's happening today here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And as a genealogist, I've been to Ireland and got my relatives out of the house to clean up the monuments of our ancestors. So I've always had a special place in my heart for taking care of cemeteries, and the emphasis on a lot of the old holy cards and whatnot, and the death cards have always been remember me, and in a lot of the cemeteries in Ireland, you'll see if there's a lot of the markings on the headstones is a request to be remembered. And so I think it's important to always take care of the cemeteries and the headstones. And you never know who's going to find them. Whatever descendant there is, when they come and see the headstone and the actual burial place of their ancestor, that's very powerful. And I think it's starting to be lost in a lot of ways to this generation. But hopefully, by taking care of things and making sure that they're here, it's a way of preserving the memory of those who've passed.
You mentioned descendants. I think, like your immediate family, when you, have a loved one in a cemetery or whatever, a lot of attention's given to that grave. But after 100, 150 years go by, a lot of these become where nobody's really paying attention to them. Is that right?
Yeah, there is that time period. And matter of fact, the cemetery in Glasnevin in Dublin, they have a cutoff period where the person has been buried over 100 years, and the chances of any remains being in that grave has either decomposed and there's probably nothing left there. If they know that the time has run out and there's no descendants, then they simply let the grass grow and regenerate after a while, and then cut the grass and use that area again, because there's, and that's why digitizing these things is very important, so you don't lose the history. And where one person was buried at one point is very important. So not only is it important to keep the cemeteries looking good, but it's also important to digitize these headstones so that there's a history and a record of it.
Actually, in this computer age, you find that's been going on here for several years now. I know personally several cemeteries I've looked up, and you can find a pretty good record of who's there.
Oh yeah, and the website Find a Grave has done marvelous things with that, with volunteers and also people documenting where their loved ones have been buried. And so there has been a push to make sure that we don't lose the information we have here, because this is a wealth of information here.
And much of the town's history, the builders of this community, many of them lie here in eternal rest.
Yes, that's true.
All right, and your church, St. Peter's Church, is the overseer of this cemetery, is that correct?
Matter of fact, today I have two committal services. Well, actually one, but I know Christ the King has one here. So I am involved with St. Peter's, and I'm also involved with West Rutland. I'm the administrator of St. Stanislaus and St. Bridget and St. Dominic's. And so, there's a lot of cemeteries to look after, and we do a really good job, I think, as a community looking after them.
And what's the response you get from some of the volunteers? You find people find this pretty satisfying work?
People really enjoy it. They always feel like they're contributing to something that's very important. And, there's a lot of people who walk through the cemetery. I know I walk through here for my nightly walk to wind down, and it's very peaceful here. And it's nice when you see a cemetery that's well kept.
Well, you're talking about the satisfaction you get. I see a young lady right directly behind you. Maybe I can turn around here and see if I can show her on camera. But that stone looks like it's in need of a little bit of cleaning, and she's doing a wonderful job over there. And I know there's all kinds of products that are used during this process. But I mean, when you see something like that, and then when she's done, I'm sure that's going to be very nice.
Yeah, she actually was instrumental in getting me the equipment here today, and she's very knowledgeable what she's doing. And the other thing too is that we're not just scrubbing and using any old products. The volunteers know exactly what to use, and they're using the right products, and they're doing it the right way, and we're making sure we're not doing any damage, which is very important.
Okay, because I've always heard, like your first thought is, okay, you have something growing on a stone, people would think, oh, put some bleach on there. Not the right thing to do.
Yeah, not the right thing to do. No wire brushes. We use things that are not going to damage the headstone, and we make sure we're doing it the right way.
All right, well, Father Richard, I want to thank you very much for spending a good few minutes with us here on PEG TV. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, my name is Nicole Vecchi. I'm with the Vermont Old Cemetery Association, and I usually run the cleaning portion of the workshops. Basically what we do is we thoroughly wet a stone and then scrape it using plastic or natural implements of all the lichen and moss, and then we go with a product called D2. We let that sit on there for a little bit, and then we scrub. And D2 is a biological cleaner, a biocide, and basically it will continue to clean the stone up for 6 to 9 months. So it's not an immediate effect that you'll see, although you'll see some cleaning, but the stone will continue to brighten as the lichen and moss die off over the next 6 to 9 months. And the product will be rinsed off with the next rain, along with whatever else we were able to scrape off.
Okay, the stone we're looking at right now is one you just finished up working on right here, and that was pretty much in need of some attention.
It was illegible. Yeah.
So you do some actual scrubbing here. You'll do that, and then this chemical that you just described or whatever will basically over a period of time keep this stone very nice.
Yeah, so it's a biocide, it's not a chemical, but that's a technicality. So once we use a D2 product, the stone will be able to stay lichen free for up to 2 years. So it's very often used in the veteran cemeteries, and on a routine basis you can spray it as a maintenance product and never have to scrub the stone because the stuff just never grows.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for taking a few minutes to explain what you're doing here, and thank you for your volunteer efforts here at Calvary Cemetery. Nicole Vecchi is still with us in front of us, and she's going to show us a little of this process here on one of these stones.
Yeah, so basically what I'm doing now is I'm just watering it thoroughly, and once I've got this nice and wet, and all this moss will soak up that water and become very pliable, and then we can scrape it off. So I'm not going to do all the sides since we're just kind of showing the technique, but here I have it nice and thoroughly watered. Now I'm going to come back here with a plastic putty knife and a piece of wood, a paint stirrer, but as you can see, it comes right off. Now, the problem with having this stuff grow on the stone is it secretes moss and lichen. They secrete a chemical that basically starts to break down the stone. So it's really important to remove all of this periodically so that the stone does not deteriorate. And you can see it's really just sloughing off here. Some are worse than others. This stuff likes to get into all the nooks and crannies, and so you can get the majority of it off here. And then the second part that we do here, I'm going to rinse it one more time just to get, because this was really quite heavily with the yuck. I'm just going to get some of that wet again and off. Now we're going to spray with our D2 product, and it really is just It's full strength. I'm creating a dilution on the stone since we just watered it. But you can see I'm not using a lot of product. Just a basic mist, and then that's going to sit on there for 15 minutes. It's going to do its thing, and then I'll come back and I'll scrub.
And how long of a period of time does it take for, as we see a lot of discoloration right there, that chemical that you just used right there will start working immediately and then within a few weeks? Is that the process?
Yeah, so it works up to 9 months. But you'll see an immediate effect, and then in about 6 to 8 weeks, you'll really see a difference.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
You're so welcome.
explaining this process. Very interesting.
You're so welcome.
Hi, well, my name's Gus, and that's Mike. And what we're doing here is, when we got here, all these stones, some were rolled over, some were turned, and we've been trying to lift them, get them up out of the dirt a little bit, and make them straight. And we're down to the last one. I got to say, when I took a look at this morning, I didn't think we'd get this far. And I'm just trying to straighten a corner marker here. But I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And it's St. Peter Church. This is their cemetery. And so we're involved with them. And that's it. Beautiful view to have here, though. Beautiful view of the mountains.